25 feet away. I said, how do you know what 25 feet away is? I said, it would be nice if you could just put a line and say, please do not smoke behind this line. You know what I mean? And he goes, he used the F word. You know what I mean? I'm not going to use it on the camera because it's not right. But he said, well, you're old enough to effing know. And I'm like, well, you don't have to cuss at me, first of all. You know, I said, I'm a human. I'm not a bum. I'm a person. And how are you going to tell what 25 feet is away from the building? And he goes, well, obviously you should know. Well, anybody, you walk over there and tell me what 25 feet is away from the front of that door.
They won't let me film there. They said because of 9/11.
Yep, because they're jerks. Some of them are jerks. The bicycle cops around here are jerks. They are the biggest jerks around. I don't know why. You know, because maybe there is a little drug problem over there. People selling pills and stuff. But not everybody sells pills over there. And just because you carry a backpack doesn't mean you're a bum.
Some people give away pants.
You know what but you know what I'm saying? They think because you got a backpack, you're a bum. Well, you got kids going to school there. You got people that just, instead of a briefcase, they use a backpack. It's more comfortable. But no, you know, the police, they're looking to bust somebody's butt over there. You know, you can't hang around over there. Well, I can understand that. You know, no loitering and stuff. I can understand that. You know, move. You don't need to be standing in front of the doors anyway, blocking people. You know? But, you know, look at how long you got to move to. You got all that whole area you can move and sit down. You don't need to sit right up in the front, right there, and like make a spectacle of yourself. You know, sitting there all day. Why? I don't know. They're not comfortable chairs. Cement. But, you know, I don't know why the guy picked on me yesterday, but if I wasn't in a good Christian mood, I would have said stuff and stepped out of line. I probably would have went to jail. But it wasn't worth it. I told him how I felt, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack that up and I'm going to go talk to somebody about the way this officer spoke to me, first of all, you know, and he should have at least, you know, first of all, not spoken to me like that. And he could have said, maybe that is a good idea, you know. But
you gotta
no,
carry a tape measure.
He wanted to be a punk. That's what it was. He wanted to be a punk and act like tough. Well, I don't care how tough you are, you know what I mean? You can be as tough as you want with a gun. Yeah, of course, you know? That's okay. But I just didn't like it, and I felt it was out of order, you know? And I think that I'm going to follow up on it because I'll get his badge, you know, because he won't remember me, but I remember him, you see? Because there's so many people he has to keep an eye on. But all I know is I remember faces and I remember people. And I'll remember who he is and I'll get his badge and I will report him for treating me like that. Whether or not anything comes out of it, I don't really care. I just want to let them know that just because, you know, you're down here doesn't mean you're homeless, doesn't mean you're up to any shenanigans. You're waiting for a bus. I was waiting for a bus. You know, I was right there where my bus stop was, and he goes, "Where's your bus?" I'm like, "Well, I'm waiting right for it." And then he goes, "Well, you can't be smoking your cigarettes right here." And I'm like, "Well, you know," and then that whole cigarette thing went on, and he started cussing and cussing and cussing, and I'm like, how can you be cussing out here where there's little kids walking around here? And those little kids are supposed to look up to you and respect you, and you're standing there cussing out a man who's not doing nothing?
You shouldn't be smoking. He's mad at you.
You're right, and I'm going to the doctor for medication to
so
get...
you're messing up your body.
I'm going to get, well, I'm a diabetic. I got hepatitis C. You know, I got a lot of things wrong with me. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna go to the doctor next week, and I'm gonna try to get patches and get on this non-smoking program. You know, just so I can get off it. Because
You're
I find myself
I gotta
smoking
straighten
too much.
myself out too.
You know, I smoke too much, and at night I'm smoking and I'm in bed. Almost burnt my bed down the other night. You know what I mean? And right then, that told me, dude, you need to stop.
How many packs a day do you smoke?
I smoke a pack from about 6 o'clock at night till about 5 in the morning because I can't sleep. I can't sleep.
How much is a pack of cigarettes?
Well, the cigars I buy, and I can't show you the pack of them because you probably can't put them on there anyway. But the cigars, and they sell them for $2.
For a whole box?
$1.25. Cigarettes are $7, $8
For one
for
pack
one
of
pack.
cigarettes.
But the cigars that are shaped like cigarettes with filters, they're $2 and less. But they're starting to go up next month because they're seeing how much money they're losing off them.
Because
they're
you're going to buy the cigars instead of the cigarettes.
You know, they want to get their money. You know, they want their money.
You should stop smoking and
I'm gonna
get up and jog every day.
You
and
know,
go home and take a shower with one of your roommates, a girl.
Hey, you know, I try to do the best I can for a lot of other people, and I neglect myself a lot.
Do you have a girlfriend?
No, I don't. I've been celibate for 7 years.
We got to get you a girlfriend.
Well, I have this lady I talk to once in a while. You know, she's attractive, about my age. You know, I've been celibate for 7 years because I was dating a woman, lived with her. She was an alcoholic. Turned me off about women.
I know a lady that's an alcoholic.
Listen, I was a hairdresser for 15 years. Okay, I've been a hairdresser for 15 years. I did that back in the 80s, 90s. I worked in concrete for 10 years. So, you know, I've been around. I was big. You know, I lost 50 pounds. I can show you a picture in my wallet with my son, okay? And you tell me how, you know what I'm saying?
You're a big guy.
I was a big guy. No fat. No fat.
Oh, muscle.
This was about 7 years ago. And then I kept that weight for a while, and then I became a diabetic. And I had hepatitis C.
Do you see your son anymore?
Huh?
You see your son anymore?
I don't know where he is. I think he's in Colorado with his mother.
Wow.
All I know is they're getting me for child.
You know her?
Look at that. Now that's what I like.
Would you like to have her as a girlfriend?
Hey, of course I would.
Me too.
Of course I would. You too? Very attractive. But you know what? I'm waiting till I get myself together, mentally and physically and emotionally, before I get a girlfriend. Because I'm not going to bring a girlfriend in a life that I'm not happy with. So
you're going to make yourself somebody. You're going to be somebody.
I will. I will meet somebody. When I'm ready to it, God will put that person in my life, or whomever will. You know? But I'm going to make sure that I'm okay to be with that person. I'm not going to take out my frustrations, or I'm going to treat her like a woman, like she's supposed to be treated. You know, I think women should be treated like queens. You know what I mean? Not pushed around. I mean, I believe in taking care of her, bathing her feet, you know, rubbing her feet, painting her toenails. I do it all, you know. I'm an ex-cosmetologist. I can do her hair from her head to her toes. You know what I mean? So
you can get yourself cleaned up and get back into the haircutting business.
I'm okay. I'm just waiting to get my teeth fixed, and once I get everything together.
You don't need good teeth to cut hair.
No, but I needed to make me feel better here.
Right.
In here.
Right.
You know, because I have emotional problems about, you know, depression and, you know, things like that. My own personal body image and things, you know, all those kind of things that deal with it. And
yeah, we all
I'm not happy with it yet. I'm getting better. Trust me, I'm getting better. the last 3 years I've been getting better. There was a time where I didn't leave my house for weeks at a time. I would leave for 1 hour a day to go to the methadone clinic and home. That was it.
So what's your name?
Huh?
What's your name?
Michael Andre.
Michael Andre.
And that's what I would do.
You have 2 first names.
And I would go out with my mother, and that would be it. You know, if she wanted to go shopping, I'd go out with her, because even if I wasn't feeling good, being with her made me feel good, made me feel safe, you know. And it's weird, you know, you're 50 years old and to have your mother, you know, helping you out, making you feel safe at 50, you know. It's like, wow, you know, but once she died, my life went downhill.
Is that your girlfriend?
And who knows, you know, and I always wish people, whenever I talk to them, if they have a mother, they better make sure that they appreciate that mother and love her and do the best they can for her, because you'll never get another one.
You think about Mom every day?
Every day.
How long has she been gone?
3 years.
3 years.
3 years, and I still cry over her at least between 1 and 5 times a week.
Right.
You know, when I think about her, you know, it's she'll never be back. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if there's a heaven up there that. You know, I don't know if there's a heaven up there that I will see her later. I would hope there is, but I don't know. But all I know is I have her here, and that's what keeps me going on a daily basis. Otherwise, I wouldn't care. I mean, I've you know, got scars. I've tried to kill myself numerous times, you know. But I always told her I would never kill myself if she were alive. You know, and she's not alive now. So that's why I have to take medication to keep me from. Like,
well,
I'm not a psycho.
Good heart, Michael.
I'm not a psycho, but I take Prozac and, you know, some things that keep me, you know, kind of even. You know.
I'm gonna get out of the sun. So how do you wanna? What message do you wanna leave with the world?
Just be kind to one another. You know. If somebody asks you, you know, and they need help, what does it take to give somebody 50 cents if they need 50 cents? You know what I mean? Who cares if they're going to buy a beer with the money?
She likes to argue with homeless people.
No, I don't. But do you know what I mean? Who cares if they're going to buy a beer or a water?
I could use a beer right now.
You know, and that's the key. That's the key to it all, you know? It doesn't matter what they need it for. You know, 50 cents is not going to kill anybody. You know? I mean...